Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast / now video channel, Reel It In. Before we started, I wanted to sort of discuss real quickly some things I learned of episodes 1 and 2 of WandaVision. I was doing some research. Someone in my comments said that the logo was actually a sword, so thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, I was second guessing myself, so thanks. Because I saw it and I went, yeah, it's a sword. And I looked at it again. For some reason, I was like, nah, it's not a sword, but it's a sword.
Yeah, it's a sword.
It definitely is a sword.
And I was doing some research, and apparently in the comics, this agency that uses this logo is actually called Sword, and it's a subdivision of S.H.I.E.L.D. that deals with, like, intergalactic, I guess, problems.
The Sentient World Observation and Response Department.
Yeah, so I think they're actually probably the good guys, not the bad guys as we were thinking.
I think they might just be the curious guys.
Well, I think they're trying to get Wanda out of where she is. Like, I think they're trying to, like, go in and grab her, like the helicopter, and like, but they keep failing. Like, the helicopter was like a fail. And then for this third one episode, I'm gonna pay attention to the advertisements that they like have within this that they have in this series, because the first one is the Stark toaster, and last video I mentioned that like Wanda's memories might be like playing a part because her parents were killed by Stark weapons. And then the next advertisement is a Strucker watch with the Hydra symbol, and Strucker is the one who like sort of like did the experiments on her and her brother to like have them have powers. Mm-hmm. So I feel like she, like, through the advertisements, she's gonna start to like try and piece together like the real reality, not the one that she's in. And
another Easter egg with the Stark commercial, when she turns on the toaster, it's the same sound as Tony Stark's little reactor blasts.
Nice. Some stuff just hit the fan. Also, okay, now I really think this is sort of... Okay, there's a part of me that thinks that this is all Wanda's doing, but then, like, at the very end, we literally see, like, a structure that's built to, like, keep her in this reality.
Yeah, so I think it kind of feeds into both of our, like, thoughts, our initial theories, and a lot of other people's, that it's like a bubble. Yeah. So it's definitely like a bubble, and I kind of like that, having it as like a thing and not so much like it's just in her head exclusively. Having it like tangible is a little cooler, I think. I'm starting to think though that maybe either there's another villain that we haven't met yet that has like some kind of ability, or it's Wanda. Because if you think about it, and I think this will probably feed into your theories on it, every single time something not so unusually usual happens, somebody starts to catch on that it's reset, it's rewinded. But I think Sword is watching this from the outside because for whatever reason this maybe has manifested from either her subconscious or she did it on purpose. Like, she just wants to live normally and have kids and not have Vision's brains,
not have his soul and the soul stone ripped out of his head.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I feel like there is another villain that we just don't... The villain might even be in Westview with everyone, but like disguised. Like, we just don't know who it is exactly. But I think like this whole situation came from the villain, but I think that Wanda has like the controls in a way. So like the situation she's in is because of something that she might have even asked for herself to like, live this normal life. And then like, so the situation, because like she asked for it, she got.
I think she's the catalyst. She's the battery. And I don't know.
I know Geraldine has been confirmed to be... I forgot her name, but she's going to be in Captain Marvel too.
Oh, the actress?
Yeah, but she's like the grown-up version of... I really don't remember her name. Okay, so
Lawson's daughter.
Yeah, not Lawson.
Lawson.
Captain Marvel.
I watched this the other day and I forgot.
Captain Marvel's friend's daughter,
Yes,
I think, is who she's a grown-up version of her.
Lieutenant Trouble.
Yeah, and then her daughter is Geraldine right now. I think that's actually been confirmed that this is who she is. So that means that she's working for S.W.O.R.D. Obviously, she had the pendant that has the symbol of S.W.O.R.D. on it.
It was 1995. I forgot that Captain Marvel happened in 1995 because Carol Danvers did not age.
So that's what I think is happening. And I think, obviously, like, S.W.O.R.D. came and, like, got Geraldine after she literally... This is why I think Wanda has control and sort of knows, because Wanda, like, flew her out of the dome.
Yeah. And is pulling her out of this alternate reality. Also, in the comics, though, she is known to be able to create alternate realities. Mm-hmm. And
so is another person.
I think you kind of see that in Ultron. I think Doctor Strange can also, in a way, create an alternate reality with the Time Stone.
I heard that Multiverse of Madness, which is the Doctor Strange movie, is supposed to fix whatever Wanda's doing.
Maybe we're not going to meet the villain, but we're going to be hinted at it by the end of the series that she's pulled out of this alternate reality that maybe she's been coaxed into creating. Mm-hmm.
But by who?
Exactly.
I want to do some comic book research and see who else can do alternate realities.
Yeah, this is where I don't know as much because I didn't read the original comics.
There's also so many comics, like Star Wars, so many comics, like it's hard to keep up.
There's like maybe 4 strains of canon and alternate timelines. So it's not like there's one alternate reality to follow. There's like several. It is a multiverse of madness. Marvel always has been, always will be. And it'll definitely, as Kevin Feige said in Investors Day, everything is going to eventually line up. So maybe we'll get a hint of that with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which comes in, I think, March. Is the next release.
It comes when this one's over.
Yeah, so that...
Because the way it's set up is like, we're basically going to have new Marvel throughout this whole year. Like, each month is going to be like... Or each series, I think, is going to be like 2 months or something. And then, like, after that series is over, the next one comes out.
Yeah, so it's like mid-March.
Yeah.
Because there's only 9 episodes, I believe, of WandaVision. And then the debut date for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, no, but I think maybe we'll start to get a hint of that. The credits for WandaVision, for some reason, reminded me of Loki. I think it's just the mystery of it. Mm-hmm. But it also, like, the logo for Loki, jumping across all eras. But we'll see, because so it's this, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then Loki, and then I don't know where it goes from there.
I wonder if What If is going to fit into this alternate reality stuff, what's going on. Because it literally is like, what if all these other things happened and not what we know of the storyline so far?
I don't know. Because I feel, especially because they're taking an alternate route with the animation, I think it might just be like hypothetical. Maybe. I'm still super excited for it, especially because they got a lot of the original voice talent back. Mm-hmm. And
it just looks good.
It looks amazing. Because, I mean, T'Challa as Star-Lord, or a version of Star-Lord, just is so cool to me. And then, of course, Chadwick Boseman was actually able to finish a lot of that production, so it is his voice, and it is his spirit, and I'm here for it.
True. So I think a lot of the things that happen, like you said, when the people of Westview start to realize, is immediately like cut off by like humor and sitcom. The sitcom is used to like distract you for like what's going on. Like it's supposed to take you out of you also like in sync with the characters and realizing that like something is wrong.
Well, for us, definitely, for sure. Like like for us, absolutely. But I think it's also a distraction for her, especially with the whole thought that maybe she's doing all of this, because I don't know if you noticed, but she tends to space out. But anyone who has any form of like post-traumatic experiences, if they're triggered by that, a lot of times they'll come up with other ways to suppress it. And for a lot of people, what tends to work is sugarcoating or watering down a lot of serious things with humor, because it's so much easier to cope with humor than it is with, you know, that trauma or that negative energy. So I think like you see it especially when she starts to remember her twin, which I feel a lot of people forgot about.
Oh, I always knew she had a twin. Because his death was just like he has the fastest metabolism ever, can literally sonic speed, and like you get shot to death.
Yeah. Well, she felt it too. She felt it, and then she reacts so viscerally. And I was just watching Age of Ultron the other day too. So, but you see, that's when stuff starts to fall apart, is when she kind of spaces out and she looks off in the distance. She's like, I was a twin. I had a brother. And then she starts singing that song
or whatever.
Or Sokovian.
Yeah.
Probably.
Whatever
made up language. Unless it is real language, someone fact check me on that, please. But you see that, and then that whole world starts to turn upside down. But we also see in the end that it is not made up completely.
Yeah.
Westview is a place. Westview is a real place within like a city limit, but for whatever reason it's been manifested in this weird magic bubble.
Yeah, this alternate reality bubble that's being like kept by these weird like light post looking fences of some sort. So like with Wanda's stress, and like this is her like coping mechanism, I feel like for me this sort of kind of confirms that at the very least it is after Infinity War, at the most maybe after Endgame, because like Wanda has been through like a lot. Like she lost her brother in Ultron, and then she found like a family sort of like with the Avengers, and like obviously she fell in love with Vision, and then she had to first she had to kill Vision herself to destroy the Soul Stone, to make sure Thanos doesn't get it. But then Thanos rewinds and literally like
tears his brains out.
Yeah, and Wanda can't stop him. And then Wanda gets snapped. And then if this is after Endgame, she comes back, but because Vision died not from Thanos' initial snap, but because Thanos like actually killed him, like he doesn't come back, obviously. So if she's back, she doesn't get Vision back. So I feel like this is probably around that time, sort of.
Yeah. And it's just her just wanting
a normal.
Well, the closest thing to a peaceful life that she could have.
Also, I feel like Geraldine's slip that got her like kicked out by Wanda, like if you're an agent of like something, like that's a stupid move. So I feel like she also is being affected like the rest of the townspeople by being inside this bubble. Because you're sort of like, because I think Wanda, she like asked her like who she is, and she kind of mouths like I don't remember. But then like I don't know, like that was just like a weird situation.
In the trailers too that like none of them do.
She's obviously from S.W.O.R.D. and she's obviously in there sort of like, I feel like, to keep an eye on things.
Well, are they from S.W.O.R.D. or, you know, I don't know. We'll have to see in the next one.
I was expecting like stuff to happen towards the end, but like weird stuff was happening throughout this whole episode, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, this I think is so far the best episode in that sense, because it had a lot more mystery to it and it was a little more ominous than the other ones. I like that Marvel's getting into like mysteries and thrillers, because Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness and also Loki is supposed to be like thriller related, and I like thrillers. So, and I also like, you know, Marvel and action movies and superheroes, so I'm glad that they're sort of like combining. It's interesting. You made a comment to me, not off the air, that like for the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, like they weren't rewatchable to you. Like you liked watching them the first time, but it's not something that you wanted to like revisit and like keep watching. like, it would be parts of it I couldn't sit through and watch the entire thing and be like, yes, I enjoy this. Where, like, this one I could.
Could you, though, if, like, as a series, like, if, not just, like, the first two, but, like, because obviously, like, the first two is part of a series, and, like, some big hints are in the second one.
To kind of go back to my thoughts on the last thing that we made, if it sticks the landing, a lot of times it really depends on how it sticks the landing, because then you at least know that, like, okay, it'll get somewhere.
Oh man, I'm like,
so, like, if you can suck up like if you can suck up kind of a crunchy beginning, but the rest of it is, like, you know,
good. A part of me feels like this, because I think this is just like this one season and that's kind of it for this whole thing, but I feel like the last episode is gonna be like Wanda, like, getting out of this somehow, and it's either gonna be really emotional or, like,
well, it has to resolve, obviously.
I know, and I don't, like, I don't want to have to experience the heartbreak of her realizing that, like, Vision is not real, maybe even her children are not real, and then just, like, what if they all just, like, fade away? That'd be so sad, but also, like, a really emotional ending.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'm already, like, stressed for this.
Also, with the last two, like, big Marvel movies, so with Infinity War and Endgame, I like how it kind of went against the common tropes for,
like, happy endings.
Yeah, with happy endings, but it's also not as quippy. Like, I cannot stand the kind of slapstick, kind of quippy humor. I am more of, like, a dry humor person. It's just it's also because it's more like my personality, but, like, a lot of it, Civil War, because I went through and I rewatched a bunch of these, especially the ones with Wanda, because I'm like, I really love her as a character. She's really interesting. Captain America Civil War, Avengers 2.5. There's so much quipping that it was just like, this is exhausting.
Yeah, even
Guardians of
the Galaxy 2 humor was just, like, kind of over the top for me. I was like, he didn't need any of this.
Well, Guardians 2 is slapstick and goofy, and it's okay the first couple times, but then after a while you're just
it was like the same kind of jokes over and over again, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
This humor, though, in WandaVision, like, it's hitting me real hard. Like, I think it's really funny.
Well, it's something that we're not used to, because I didn't grow up on Bewitched and the Dick Van Dyke special or whatever it was, and I didn't really watch Brady Bunch either. I just know of the Brady Bunch.
I have watched some I Love Lucy, which I think is, like, 50s or 60s, which is I think some of them were funny to me.
Yeah, talk about dry. But yeah, I'm curious to see what the sitcom that they're gonna model that after in the 80s. Because to my comment to you off camera was that I think that each episode, with the exception of maybe the last two, are going to jump decades. Because the first one was definitely early 60s.
No, the first one is 50s. Second one is 60s.
Well, if you follow it based off of what it's basing itself off of, the sitcom aspect of it, that Dick Van Dyke show that he was in, it was verbatim, because I watched it with my mom, and she's like, oh yeah, this is just like this. I'm like, oh, show me. And she's like, yeah, we'll pull up some videos, and she showed me, and then we watched the second one. She had, this is just like Bewitched, and we watched scenes of Bewitched, and with the Brady Bunch, I've seen enough to be able to be like, oh, that's the Brady Bunch, because it's pretty iconic. They're iconic in their own way. So I'm curious to see what the sitcom of the 80s was. I have a feeling I know where the 90s is gonna go.
I think the 90s is gonna be early 2000s. 2 episodes. Like early 90s will be 1 episode and late 90s will be 2nd episode. Because I think that's how it's gonna go. Because I saw someone posted, I forgot which site, but someone posted, like, episode 1 is 50s, 60s, and then it went on, and then there was 2 90s, and it was 2000s, and then it was, like, 2010s, and then there was, like, present. I don't know.
Because I was thinking that the last two, and I think it would make the most sense if the last two are, like, caught up to the present, because if they need to use 2 episodes to build up to this climactic ending that, you know, hopefully happens, that would kind of make more sense too.
I think it's interesting though, like, I wonder why Wanda is, like, picking like to go through centuries, because obviously we see outside of the bubble, like it's pretty modern times.
And that's why I think maybe it's not just her though, that there's still some kind of other force, because there's the question through the radio, who's doing this to you, Wanda? Mm-hmm. So
do you think it's like a trickster? I
do.
They're like, I'm gonna make you live through all this, but then at the end, like there's gonna be something like a monkey's paw kind of thing. There's gonna be like a consequence to you wanting this to happen, and for like me to give it to you is sort of how I feel like this might go.
Maybe. Well, it could be an extension of her powers, and maybe there's a mockingbird. So in the same way, if you haven't seen season 2 of The Umbrella Academy, spoilers for this comment, but Lila being the mockingbird, who her ability is to be able to replicate each one of the Hargreaves' powers for a brief amount of time. So I'm wondering if there's not a similar kind of superhuman, or either they're like a mockingbird or they have a similar kind of power where they're using that same kind of mind manipulation, but because she is so powerful,
the most powerful,
and it's something that she really wants, that it's manifesting that completely. And it's definitely like a manipulation kind of thing going on.
Or I feel like whoever is doing this is from like an alternate reality themselves, maybe.
Possibly.
I'm gonna do some research. I'm gonna do some heavy research.
Possibly.
See what's going on.
And we'll see, because obviously there are multiverses.
Yeah.
But Kevin Feige, of course, confirms everything that he feels is necessary. But like we see that with everything that happened in Endgame, like with Loki escaping,
right?
With everything that ended up happening, they ended up causing, I think, a lot more damage than they were looking at surface level.
I'm glad that this is like how it's going though, because as you've all heard me mention, I don't like time travel, and Endgame sort of made it feel like as long as you return these stones, everything will be fine. Like that is not how time travel works. So I'm kind of glad that this is sort of like a consequence to what happened in Endgame. Like things did happen. So I'm glad that they're doing that. And it just took a while. It just took a little bit more than one movie to explain, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, they're all like that. A lot of them you can't just like watch them and be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, true.
Totally.
Well, that's all my thoughts currently from watching this 3rd episode of WandaVision. So I guess we have to wait for another week. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the actual reactions this time. Also, our technical difficulties we've been having the past couple episodes have hopefully been resolved. You'll notice hopefully the video quality is a bit better. So thank you guys so much.
Camera, I'm a little more organized this time.
So thank you guys so much. Please join me next week for another video.